The Visual Arts in Asia e-book presents the Haja Fatima Mosque and the Sembawang Malay Settlement Mosque. Before we get started, it is best to note that the purpose and functions of a mosque. A mosque is an Islamic place of worship. It is a religious social space for Muslims to gather and perform the daily or Friday congregational prayers, attend sermons, and celebrate the Muslim festivals, such as Hari Raya, also known as Eid al-Fitr. It is usually created as a form of charity made by a Muslim who chose to donate the land into a place of worship. The Haja Fatima Mosque has long been recognized for its canonical status in the history of Singapore. However, many Singaporeans are unaware of the significance of the Malay Settlement Mosque. This e-book will share the history of the two monumental mosques in Singapore, as well as the significance of each social spaces. The Haja Fatima Mosque is a monumental space of worship. This social space was built between 1845 and 1846, located at 4001 Beach Road in the Kampong Glam area. The Haja Fatima Mosque has a canonical status in the history of Singapore. The mosque was gazetted as a national monument on 28 June 1973. It was one of the first 8 monuments granted legal protection as a national monument in Singapore. It is also one of the few mosques named after a woman. The founder of the mosque, Haja Fatima binti Sulaiman, belonged to a wealthy trading family. She was a businesswoman who lived along Beach Road, which was burned down by thieves. After the fire, she donated a land of rubble home into the mosque that stands till this day. She passed away at the age of 98 and wished to be buried within a mosque mausoleum. In the past, due to the sandy foundation, the Haja Fatima Mosque minaret used to lean and tilt at a 6-degree angle. Many related this to the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy. Aside from the relation to Italy, the design of the mosque was said to have an Indo-Islamic and European as well as Chinese architectural influence. One of these reasons could be due to the English architect who designed the Haja Fatima Mosque. One of these features would be the mosque's minaret. It has a similar design to the spires on a Christian church or cathedral. Many related to the St. Andrew's Church spires. Along the parapet that surrounds the mosque minaret, there is a Chinese architectural influence, such as the use of porcelain glazed tiles. Boundaries is a line which marks the limits of an area. In this case, boundaries within the mosque are sectioned spaces which has different uses and functions. A mosque typically has a prayer hall where a large number of people would gather for Islamic lectures and congregational prayers. It also has a minaret where the call to prayer is done. It also includes a women's and men's ablution area, where Muslims wash themselves before prayer. However, one of the notable features of the Haja Fatima Mosque has to be the mausoleum, where her grave as well as some of her family members were buried. The mosque has an ogee curved dome with 12 windows that hover over the main prayer hall. Each lancet-shaped windows have an influence from the Neo Gothic architecture. On one side of the walls in the prayer hall has a niche called the mihrab, which shows the direction towards Mecca. Next to the mihrab is a minbar, an elevated platform. The minbars are often ornamented and elevated, which functions as a way for the person on it to be seen. Its decorative elements and height suggest a higher rank of hierarchy for the person who has granted access to use it for sermons. Some of the people who give sermons in the mosques are imam, which is a person who leads prayers in the mosque, an Islamic scholar, or an ustad, an Islamic teacher. Behind the mihrab leads a path towards another boundary, which is the mausoleum. It holds the tomb of Haja Fatima, Raja Siti, her daughter, and Syed Ahmad Alsagoff, her son-in-law. Now I shall introduce the second mosque, which deserves a higher recognition to the public and will make some inferences to it to the Hajjah Fatima Mosque. Tucked away from the buzz of the city is a traditional kampong mosque called the Masjid Pertobatan Melayu Sembawang, or the Sembawang Malay Settlement Mosque. Built in 1963, it was once situated in a densely populated area within a Malay village. Before the mosque was built, Muslims in the village would pray in the former Masjid Juma Sembawang, or suraus known as a smaller prayer house. The construction of the mosque was done voluntarily by the villagers within the Malay settlement. Carpenters and engineers that were involved were also part of the volunteers. One of the features that made this mosque special are the wooden planks and zinc roof sheets, which are reminiscent of traditional kampong houses. One notable difference between the Hajjah Fatima Mosque and the Malay Settlement Mosque would be the boundary beyond the walls of the mosque. Unlike the Hajjah Fatima Mosque, the current Malay Settlement Mosque has an open concept veranda and an outdoor area which surrounds the mosque. The outdoor area includes a car park and grass area. Due to its humble size, the prayer hall had a tendency to reach maximum capacity. Thus, the grass area also functions as an outdoor praying space. The Malay Settlement Mosque deserves more recognition as it is one of the last kampong-style mosques in Singapore. Surrounded by luscious greenery and accompanied with the open space away from the city, evokes a sentimental value and a rich Malay culture which runs deep in the local Malay community, which needs to be shared with the masses. Some walls made from the wooden planks and the jagged zinc roof sheets are reminiscent of the bygone era of the kampong lifestyle. Despite its simple and humble design, the single-floor building holds a monumental and significant value to the Malay community in Singapore. In contrast to the Hajjah Fatima Mosque, which was donated by a businesswoman, the Sembawang Malay Settlement Mosque was partially funded from the villagers living in the Kampong Wak Hassan and Kampong Tanjung Irau. The design of the building was also done by the community within the village, giving it a historical moment in Singapore.